and welcome back to my channel. This is Cetriya, C-E-T-R-I-Y-A, and instead of just uploading a bunch of Inktober speed paints, I figured I'd upload something that's actually helpful and of interest to you. So today I'm going to do a quick little video tutorial on rendering black hair with ink. So I did a couple of quick little drawings right here. You can tell it's pretty small, it's the size of my hand. And I'm just gonna quickly render out different variations to show black hair. Now, you can tell that these are different kind of hairstyles or hair textures. And I don't want you guys to take maybe one method that I render her hair and then just assume that that's the only way to render straight hair. But the fact that I'm just going to show you different ways to render different qualities of hair. So stick around and hopefully you learn something that'll help you with your Inktober travels. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly ink in just the basic outlines of the characters' heads. I'm using a dip pen. It does not require you, for whatever material you're using is fine. This is just more of how to render hair in black and white, not about using the tools. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly speed up this section. Alright, so you'll have to excuse me there, my camera timed out, but basically I'm going to go ahead and redo this method style. But before then, this is what I'd like to call the half and half method. So you start out with really strong black shadows, and then using a thinner pen, after right here you've marked out where you want your highlights to be, you're just gonna slightly cross hatch in the fill. And just make sure you keep in mind where your highlights are going to be. And if you're using, say, screen tone instead of hatching, this would pretty much be where the screen tone is. And with the screen tone, you can fill it in with a solid shaped screen tone or a gradient. I usually prefer gradient. But going back to redoing the first one, after you've done your basic outline for your hair, make sure you mark off where you want your highlights to be. You can even fill it in to an extent, but I tend to not fill it in too much. One, it takes up a lot of time, especially if you're doing a lot of comics pages, and two, sometimes the ink might not flow all that straight with it. So for this, I'm just going to use a basic felt tip marker. You don't have to use a marker, you can use a brush. You can use another technical pen, like the thicker ones, I believe. And actually, let's go ahead and use that, yeah. So Micron has like a thick brush pit, and what you're doing is you're going to just taper back into and kind of make it a little bit jagged. Don't make it too straight. You can make it straight, actually. That's more of a current style, but I like to call this like the old school or shiny shoujo style of rendering black hair. And to an extent, where you did your original outlines for the hair, you want to leave a little bit of white spots so that way the lines are still defined and still there, so they know the shape of the hair. You could also always go back with the gel pen and add your highlights that way. I personally like this method. I like drawing shiny hair. It's kind of relaxing and fun to do. So go ahead and just, there's not too much rhyme or reason other than making sure that there's highlights and that your strokes match the flow of the hair. Not going too crazy with too many highlights, but making sure it looks nice and good. You can also look up comic book artists' inks before they're colored, or some old school manga, as I don't believe the more recent ones do it as much. I think a bit more Korean style does that. But, yeah. So there's your two styles. You got your solid black style and then your half and half, I like to call it. All right, so now I'm going to do the solid block kind of method, and I'm just naming these techniques on my own. But just to cover, it's pretty much the style that's more popular, more current right now. And pretty much what you do is you have a very small area that you highlight or you mark as your highlight right here. Or you could leave it solidly black without any highlights. So, and there's almost a two-parter to this method. So basically you just fill in the hair solid black. And with this method, you want to really be careful with the shape of the hair, however shape you're doing it, so that way it reads as, oh, this is hair. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly fill it in. I think part of the reason people like this method is it's pretty quick to do. You don't have to, you're not overthinking about it, especially for more recent animes. There you go. Basically right here we're filling it in. Solid black here. And then make a note about this. Let me switch out to my bigger marker. Much better. Oh, much better. There you go. And there it is. The solid block method. It's pretty simple, right? So you can go ahead from then on. You could add like white highlights or add extra highlights here. And that could be part of the reason why people like this method. Give her a very messy bun right here. There you go. Is that you can do a bunch of extra filigree, and of course the other way is to just give her like almost no real highlights. And there you go. Just very little highlights, little speckles, and that's the solid block method. So far you can see this is like the black method with a lot of highlights, the half and half, the solid black. And this I thought I'd just give you a little bonus right here and show how at least I render curly hair. And the curly hair can be again with any of those method, perhaps not strong highlights like this, but I just like to give it some bits here, add some textures. Add a cute little highlight. I decided to leave the strokes out, and that could mean strands of hair, or it could mean strands of braids or whatnot. I'll probably do how to do several different kinds of hairstyles, but there you go. So there's many ways, of course, to do rendered black hair or dark hair. Just go about and look up your favorite comic book artists or your favorite manga artists and see their work in black and white, and from there you can get highly inspired for different kind of ways to render black hair. So hopefully you guys get to use this for your Inktober. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Any requests, leave them down below. I plan to post more Inktober videos. and I plan to post my actual week of Inktober video right after this one. So hope to see you guys in the next video.